Welcome to Coffee and a Conversation hosted by CJ Abernathy for South Dakota District 23 Senate 2020. A father, an activist, a Marine Corps combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, Purple Heart recipient with a bachelor's degree in information technology software engineering. CJ is the executive producer for the Adam vs. the Man podcast with Adam Kokesh, and the CEO of Internet Warlords, the war for the Internet, as well as a former 2018 South Dakota Libertarian gubernatorial candidate, and a 2020 South Dakota delegate to the Libertarian National Convention. If you would like to join this broadcast, click the link in the description. Coffee and a Conversation starts now. Have a great day or don't. The choice is always yours.
Let's get right into these headlines here. Ghislaine Maxwell, associate of Jeffrey Epstein, did not kill herself. I'm sorry. Is arrested. Miss Maxwell was arrested on accusations linked to the sex trafficking charges against Epstein, who killed himself nearly a year ago. Now, everybody knows Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. This is so why the media is doing this one's beyond me. That's gonna bug the shit out of me real quick. There we go. Now, this is what they're running with 20 minutes ago in the New York Times. And it makes you go, what the fuck? As the New York Times, do they not see the memes? Do they not see that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself? But this is what the headline and the tag is. Hello, everybody. It's your boy CJ, the Internet Warlord, coming to you live and loud from the great state of Meth Dakota. You know Meth Dakota. It's the state just south of North Dakota. That Dakota, the state formerly known as South Dakota, until the queen of meth herself, Governor Kristi Noem, declared us all by proclamation on meth. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not on meth. I'm just not. I'm just not on meth. It's something that I don't partake in. As a libertarian, yes, I believe all drugs should be decriminalized, sold over the counter, blah blah blah. If you can buy gasoline and shove that tube down your throat and chug your stomach full of gas, well, you should be able to smoke some grass and put in your body whatever you want. But no, the systems that be make it so you can't do that, because certain things are different. But to join YouTube, you guys have been acting pretty lame over there, so I forgot the link today. I just woke up here. I had a terrible dream. You guys know what an intervention is? An intervention where people tell you all the ways you've been fucking up. Does it say Billshit on here? Really? Well, you know what? I'm going to keep it as Billshit. Because at the end of the day, I want to know where I'm sending my bill for the convention that the LNC is clearly trying to get rid of because they didn't get their way, and they're all a bunch of corrupt assholes who are violating the bylaws and using dumb arguments as retaliation for that. All right, well, we're just gonna keep it with Billshit, because I have about roughly $1,000 in non-refundable tickets, Airbnbs, rental cars, because the delegation of the Libertarian Party, all the delegates, not the LNC, this is separate. So for those who don't know, delegates, LNC, the Libertarian National Committee, are completely separate from the delegates themselves. The delegates actually have more power than the LNC every time. No questions asked. And what the LNC is trying to do now is use the government propaganda and fear mongering and really just dumb tactics through the Libertarian Party chairman, Nicholas Sarwark. And this guy is a tool bag. This guy needs to go. He is the definition of corrupt. If you looked in the dictionary at the word corrupt, this is the man whose picture would be next to it. Let me ask you this. Are you the third party chairman? Chairman, the top of the LNC for 12 years. And, I mean, you want to know why the Libertarian Party hasn't had any true success with candidates? There's your problem. Listen, I'll be the guy that looks at the knife. But remember, if you pull a knife out of your back, how are you going to know what organs it actually punctured? You could actually do more damage. Keep the knife in until you get to a surgeon. Consider me the surgeon, and the knife is in the back of the delegates. And that is the number one culprit. We believe his fingerprints are on the knife, but we're going to get that knife over there to internal affairs and investigation departments. We're going to make sure that we put this on blast, front notice, because I got some Billshit to be on. When we voted as delegates, and yes, I'm a delegate to the 2020 Libertarian National Convention, we said, coronavirus or no coronavirus, we're going to go to Orlando. Now, they had a responsibility to do. If they are malfeasant in that responsibility, they need to resign. First and foremost, if you're malfeasant in your job and you do not perform the functions of your job description and your obligation to the delegates, resign. Don't just sit there and think, oh, well, you know what this party needs me to do? Fuck up at my job and then sit here and watch everybody watch me stay in my job. Because that's essentially what this guy did. That's essentially what Nicholas Sarwark has done. Is sit there and think that none of us are going to know that this guy is a crooked motherfucker. He is the top of the pyramid. He is the eye on top of that pyramid. And he is looking down. You know what? That's what it is. I haven't had any coffee yet. Oh, shit. I haven't had any coffee yet. Good morning, everybody. Sorry. I didn't mean to assume the adjective of your day. Good morning. I should have said just morning. Word police. Word Nazis. If you want to join this broadcast, you have to go over to Facebook right now because it's updated. The link is in the description on Facebook. But if you're clicking back and you're like, I don't see it, refresh the whole page and the link should be there. So, what really bothers me, though, ever since I joined the Libertarian Party in 2018, so again, I'm that new guy that you're like, oh shit, our message attracted CJ? Well, you're all the fuckers that wanted to grow the party and bring people in that are activists and running for office and willing to put their life on the line and actually, mean it when they say shit about the two-party duopoly. And yeah, you attracted me. I have no apologies for my participation in this party. I have meant every single word I have said to every single person on the LNC, to my own state chairman, to my own state party. Everybody that I have interacted with, I have done so based on their character. And, I've met a lot of incredible people. But, unfortunately, there are still scumbags amongst us. And the man's name is Nicholas Sarwark. Now, Nick, when you see this inevitably, and then you dismiss me, which you will do inevitably, I want you to know that I am going to be in this party for a very long time. You're going to have to deal with me year in and year out. Political opinions all the way through. All the way through. Because I'm not going anywhere. I'm a libertarian. I have read that party platform front and back, and I said, yep. And I've ran as a libertarian. I'm not going anywhere because I'm a libertarian. And I'm not afraid to say that. It's like coming out to your parents who's been voting for the two-party duopoly. And this is not to diminish anybody's coming out stories in the LGBTQ plus community. What I'm saying is it's the cisgendered male equivalent to a coming out to your parents who are like, well, he's gay. Well, it's not gay. It's actually gay to continue to allow the two parties fuck you and be ignorantly and willfully stupid about it. There's a big difference. But anyways, probably lost somebody there. They're like, oh God, how dare he speak of cisgendered males like that? I'm a cisgendered male. Listen, I'm just trying to relate a little bit to our LGBTQ plus community. We love you guys. You're my family. It's us against all of them. I mean, you can come on here too. I don't want anybody to think they can't. It just blows my mind that we can have all this corruption. But there has been one voice in this storm. One lone voice. And this goes to show why it's very important in certain offices to have people with integrity and people with, actual common sense and decency. And that would be Miss Harlos, known to many of you, our beloved secretary, who has been the only voice in here that has been going through and saying what a lot of us are thinking. John Phillips, huh? Let's see here. Uncomfortable truth here, though. Riddle me this. Why do some male members of the LNC jump my, Alicia, and Aaron's shit when we get a bit intemperate, but never say a word when a man does it? Ooh. I am sick and tired of certain mansplaining on the LNC. Ooh, mansplaining. I don't say that lightly. I don't buy into modern feminist oppression narrative. Okay, that's good. She doesn't buy into modern feminist oppression narrative. Well, of course, you're the secretary of the third largest political power in modern history. And your voice is definitely one we all listen to and appreciate. At least I do. I don't buy male privilege nonsense. Whew, man, this woman is she is on it. But there is a latent sexism on the LNC, and it's been there a long time. Maybe it's time to run a woman for chair. I mean, the delegates wanted a woman for president. I mean, oh, well, I'm not gonna go into the statements in the comments here, but 19 hours to the LNC. The cold equations. We are not canceling this convention. Everything I have to say assumes nothing else changes, such as the chair choosing to vote on the email ballot early or the state of Florida shutting things down. Fact, we have a perfectly acceptable location. I do not find the stretches to find or to try to find ways this is materially different, particularly credible as a justification to reiterate this issue that the delegates already decided. Fact, the soonest we can meet is July 4th. I am not available. Of course, a meeting can take place without me, but that would then prove contradictory to the repeat concerns of disenfranchisement of anyone. Not that this difference of one day really matters. Good morning, Mercedes. Thank you for liking my video. Well, hello, Mr. Larry Sharp. Now, Mercedes has all but derailed my show here this morning, but I do appreciate your thumbs up. We'll just get right back into Ms. Harlow's here. Fact. That's okay, though. We can still. All right. So let's see here. So we meet on July 5th, and keep in mind, I'm leaving July 7th for Orlando. Like, this is in less than 6 days. In fact, I'm leaving in the early, like 5 a.m. For Florida. Like, I'll be there before noon. Like, I'll be able to have lunch in Orlando. That's kind of what my plan was. Like, fly out super early, be able to have just lunch in Orlando. So we meet on July 5th. You really think we are going to cancel on July 5th? That's grossly abusive to delegates. Some are already driving down. So admittedly, I'm leaving 2 days before it starts, and some people have already started commuting. I mean, imagine having to tell the bodies, okay, well, you guys got to turn around there. You made it, 1,000, 1,400 miles, and now you got to turn around. And that's reported from the secretary, not CJ's words, the secretary's words. It is too late, as it is. Of course, there was always going to be a last-minute push for corruption, folks. I really can't stress this enough for people that are outside the LNC and the Libertarian Party. At least this isn't like covering up like corruption in some child human trafficking murder ring. But this is like as corrupt as it gets in our party. Like, people are literally last minute trying to sabotage other people from putting on a convention, and that we have all right to do. And so at the end of the day, this is the corruption we're dealing with. So I just want to know where I send my bill. Do I send my bill to Nicholas Sarwark for that $1,000 of non-refundable tickets? Do people that are driving right now send their gas receipts to Nicholas Sarwark? Do people that are paying for rental cars that have deposits like I had to, that I've already paid, that it's non-refundable, do I get that back? The Airbnb that I got said you can pay $500 for this time and get and get it for a non-refundable fee, or you can pay $750 and have a refundable fee. Well, not everybody could afford that, so I just paid the $500, and then those that get there are like, "Hey, CJ, here's what I can help you with." Am I going to get that money back from you, Nick? I don't think so. And then what's telling later on through this is, and this is a spoiler alert for a different chapter, is that the LNC thinks that they can sue the Rosin Hotel and make them liable, when this has all been documented corruption on the LNC's part. Like, the Rosin's just like, "Hey guys, we can't accommodate you here, but we've got all these other properties over here. We'd be more than willing to make sure everything gets transferred and everybody can stay over here." So, it's kind of like, okay, well, we go from location A is our first one to location B, but what they're doing is in that location A to B, the internet only people are saying, "Oh no, let's just cancel it all, and then we all vote online." And that's fucked up. That is where it's fucked up, because you can't just have a convention sitting, everybody votes, come hell or high water, coronavirus or no coronavirus. If there was a fucking hurricane going down there right now, we would still all be traveling towards Florida to have our convention. But what you guys did is took this as your first opportunity to say, "Hey, let's get rid of the in-person convention and just make it about us, the 30% minority that voted for an in-person convention." And you're trying to do so with some pretty good tactics, though. I'll give you, for COINTELPRO shit, you guys are all We're good at the brainwashing, manipulation, and just complete misinformation put out there of what's going on. Because I can read the LNC notes, and we're going to go through some of them. But this last minute push where we got to switch locations. Listen, if you have family coming in for a barbecue, let's say I'm like, hey, uncle, hey, mom, and I go, hey, buddy from college. Like, I bring in all these people to my barbecue, right? And then a bug infestation happens at the place that we were going to do it at. And they're like, hey, CJ, we can't accommodate you over here, but we can accommodate you and your family over here. You go, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, we appreciate you doing that. We appreciate that from you and going above and beyond to make sure that we're taken care of. And you go, well, the internet people, they don't want us to even be able to get to that second location. Well, this is where I'm going to tell all that 70% of delegates that voted for this convention. We can go to the parking lot of the original location, and we can actually vote to make it so no online participation happens at all. Because this is straight up retaliation from that 30% minority and the LNC that are most likely, in my opinion, been blackmailed or in some way, shape, or form are being coerced into doing this. Straight up. If you don't think the LNC isn't corrupt, let me ask you this. I follow a guy that I think is one of the best podcasters on the planet right now. And the man has earned his stripes to be able to walk down rabbit holes and take souls of those that are doing corrupt bullshit. And
but it's just like, why aren't they?
That would be the voice of Mr. Sam Tripoli. He is a comedian, a host of the Tinfoil Podcast. And if you ever want to watch me fanboy, I get to meet him. I mean, I listen to every one of his podcasts. But as always, when he says the words Libertarian Party, I'm going to let you know. Because this is where we're at on the outside view. I don't know if Sam is a registered libertarian or not. I don't know to what level and extent that he is active in this party. I haven't never seen him, say he's running for office or anything. But listen to this and tell me what you think, because this is where, again, he's brought this up now not once, but twice.
Up about the libertarians, but it's just like, why aren't they yelling about the fact that YouTube and Twitter can basically run at a loss because they're getting basically money from the CIA to be the what the cat just said is the new digital town square.
Now, I'm glad that he brought this up, because here on this show, and I've ran for governor, and over on Adam versus the Man, and Adam has run for president. We've been talking about censorship on the internet, and I'm most likely being censored right now as we speak, because I say things that, don't get approved by the powers that be. So, this whole thing, I'm going to play this too, but we're going to get to Nicholas Sarwark. Mr. Devin Saxon, I'm going to get to comments here real quick. When are you having guests? The link should be in the description. And the Digital Studio of Freedom is open. So if you hop on, I will see you pop on. Mercedes, good morning. We'll just start from the top here and work my way down through your lovely comments. You are welcome. I'm a word Nazi. Hong Kong fell for real, and now the world has gone insane. Well, the United States is falling, and the world's going insane too. They arrested Maxwell. Yes, I that was my opening story this morning. It was breaking news. So I'm getting ahead on it and saying Maxwell didn't kill herself. You got to get ahead of that. That's fucked up unless the people in Florida do it online too, because unless you go to the beach, I don't know how it's going to happen. Well, see, again, they don't have the ability to do what they're doing. They don't. They really have no authority. The internet has tried to retaliate. That's all this is a whine of a 30% minority that didn't get their way. And so I keep saying, they have a very real fear that we're going to go, hey, you online people are never going to get to sabotage this process again. This is history. This isn't something you just throw on to a technocracy. Because again, and this is where my belief is, that what Mr. Tripoli just said here, is that this is CIA. This is them being corrupt. This is what Adam calls COINTELPRO, bro. This is you being manipulated as a delegate into believing false information and government propaganda through a party that says we don't fall for government propaganda and bullshit. Why are we allowing the LNC to do this? It's against the bylaws. Well, the CJ, there was a thing that said they could change the time and location. Yes, if the rosin can accommodate. You don't just say, hey guys, we're having this barbecue. There's roaches in the motel. They got this nice location down the street. I know all your tickets have been bought. Uncle Tom, you've been driving for like 4 days straight to get here. Turn around because we're canceling because the hotel is saying no. No, we're libertarians. We can go to the goddamn public park. We have watched activists, protesters. We know how to assemble peacefully. Motherfuckers, what is wrong with you? We know how to do this. COVID-19 or no COVID-19. We know how to peacefully assemble. Wake up, people. This is stupid. Where do I send my bill? Oh, well, CJ, it was a gamble. No. At our Libertarian South Dakota convention, a question to be a delegate was, and for consideration of whether or not you should even be a delegate, was, can you go to the national convention regardless of where it is, and do you have the ability to go? So don't tell me that in some places it's like, well, DJ, the state, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, in our state it was, can you even do it? Well, yes, I can. I'd be more than happy to. All right, CJ wants to be a delegate. We'll vote on it. Now, again, this is just all predictable. You're looking at the guy that predicted Nicholas Sarwark would be an obstructionist chair for the first ever online convention, which I still think is a botched convention. I still think should be, in my opinion, if we're being honest as a party, thrown out the window, null and voided, and everything be reset at an in-person convention. Because when you got somebody saying, hey, the CIA is paying your fucking LNC members to do corrupt shit, and then you've got a secretary going, hey, they're doing some corrupt shit, and I don't want any part of that. Like, imagine like this. You get a secretary. This is why I'm glad that if we didn't have a secretary like Miss Harlos, if we didn't have her in that spot, they could have railroaded through anything they wanted to, made it look any way they wanted to, but she kept it honest because they knew there was a gatekeeper with integrity called the secretary. Because on a live mic in the LNC convention online, they kept their microphones on, and it's recorded for the rest of history that they were trying to rig the presidential vote. And at some point, you watch the presidential candidates, and you're hearing this, and you go, hey, did you fuckers hear that? They just basically admitted to rigging the presidential election process and the vice presidential election process. Did you all not hear it? Hello, I'm sitting here at my computer listening to it. I'm raising my hand, clicking the digital button, and oh no. So, hey guys, yes, taxation is theft. All right, listen to this makeshift commercial from the Frontier Project, and I'm like, I caught you all fucking rigging it. Seriously. I'm only in this party for 2 years, and you think I'm going to sell out my principles to cover your corruption? Fuck you. Fuck you. Not happening. So, why are the libertarians not yelling about Google censorship? Again, Mr. Tripoli, you probably will never see my little peon broadcast here. I'm a huge fan of yours. You speak more honest in one podcast than I've seen most people speak in their whole life. And so, again, that's just one reason why I appreciate it. But just let's let him finish his thoughts here.
I think what you just said is not something that a lot of people know. You know what I mean? So that's not like a mainstream fact.
But it's like, you don't think the heads of the Libertarian Party know that the basically the street that where we are all doing business now on digitally is YouTube, is Twitter, is Instagram, is getting funded, whether openly or through fucking shady channels, by the CIA.
It absolutely is, and that's how it was funded. It was funded from the seat of the CIA group called Incutel, is what funded Google originally.
Yes, he is interviewing a talking cat. That is a fact.
That's what I
so
think,
yeah, and I think even in the executive order, I know most people don't read these things, but I do.
I love it.
It said like these platforms will not be getting any government funds unless they adhere to these rules. And I think a lot of libertarians, as you were saying, their biggest thing will say, well, they're private companies, so they can do what they want. But here's the thing: if you have a monopoly on information, there is nowhere else that we could go to have the same public square experience. You can't go to, say, Gab from Twitter and still reach the same amount of people. And because these companies are trying to shut down platforms like Gab and Subscribestar whenever we go to try to create a new platform, like they tell us to do, then they have a monopoly. And if they have a monopoly, the only way that we can get our information out there is on that platform.
And I don't think a lot of people know.
All right. So, two things in response to that. Monopolies on the internet are a huge problem, for sure. Nobody is discounting monopolies on the internet being anything but a problem for people to generate revenue. And there is a ad block spot where they can go, hey, no, we're not pushing this guy's content because he's not approved. And you would think the Libertarian Party, yes, would be aware of that. So I would say, again, separating the body from the LNC. And in that case, they're pushing you into this technocracy. As I've been saying, they've been pushing us into a technocracy over government propaganda and fear-mongering. Like, if you don't know how to put the writing on the wall in your life to say, hey, what's this shit getting on my head here? Is it raining? Why is that dude standing on a ladder with his wiener out? Oh, I guess it's just some rain. I guess it's raining out. I guess I should expect thunderstorms. And then it shits on you. Oh, that's just a little lightning. You know, come on. Let's get real. There is corrupt elements in the LNC. Why do you think that they didn't make debate stages? Why do you think, and it's not for the reasons that they're telling you. It's not, I promise you, it's not the reasons that the LNC will tell you. It's because they are corrupt. So, speaking of going to corrupt places, we go back to our good friend Alphabet, and we go and we say the words COINTELPRO.
According to Wikipedia, COINTELPRO is a series of covert and illegal projects conducted by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting American political organizations.
Okay? Now, you go into something like that. Okay, well, CJ, you gotta name names. Who's corrupt? Well, I mean, for example, Nicholas Sarwark, so I've been told, and he is welcome to click the link like everybody else and dispute this, but I have it from a pretty credible source who's been in the party for a pretty decent amount of time to say that at one point Nicholas Sarwark himself was against any form of conventions online. That they would go as far as to say, if you're not in the room at a certain place in time, you're not a delegate. Physically. Now, as I've stated before, I believe that they are doing this as a test for the two parties. I think we're the expendable party. I think we're the party that actually has a legitimate candidate, and they don't want to face Dr. Jorgensen in that regard on a debate stage. So what they have to do is they have to do what's called a botched convention for our convention. They have to call into question the results of our voting and the results of this, and they at the same time test whether or not we can put on a successful convention digitally. Because they're not going to do it unless we can make it through it first, because they know that if they had, they're going to have more people at the RNC and the DNC if they tried to do it. No doubt. Ears would be listening, and if they were like, hey man, we got to rig this vote for Hillary or else Bernie's going to get it. If you got that kind of shit on a live mic, well, alluding to the fact that there's some discrepancies, the nice way to put it. States that can vote after seeing other states' results. So that way they can swing it one way or another, or put a block towards others, or vote not for this third party. Or when you're doing the way that we voted on it, it's easy to control. If I had 30 votes or so that I could swing any way either round, and I could watch till the end and go, oh, we want to eliminate that guy this time. All right, gone. Oh, next we're going to eliminate this guy. Oh, now we're going to eliminate them. Guess what? Now she is in office. Is nominated. That's what they were doing. They could control whole blocks of states. Seeing results. Voting as blocks. And knowing they have the ability to do so because they've already tested it. They've already been through it. And if you watch it, if you actually watch the LNCs, which most people are not going to. If you actually watch the LNC's videos, most people are going to watch, but again, I can't emphasize this enough. The internet never forgets, and I am an internet warlord. And if I'm hearing people trying to rig a vote for president of the United States, you can bet your ass I'm going to say something. And not bullshit around the bush to try to go, hey. It's a botched vote. Shh. But again, Nicholas Sarwark just doesn't seem to get it. So, if you'd like to be a guest on this broadcast like everybody else, click the link on the description. So, we've been through mansplaining. The secretary needs to take a breather here in this next one. I absolutely adore this lady. She's very, very, just like I said, professional. And I'm gonna read this here real quick. After and only after I introduce my first guest this morning here. As soon as I guess maybe he wants to stay off camera this morning. I don't know. Maybe he's in his libertarian suit. Mr. Devin Saxon, good morning, sir.
Dude, breaking news.
Yeah.
Julian Maxwell.
Yeah, no, I broke that the very, very moment that I opened the show.
Oh, sorry.
So like you, I'm thinking the same thing. She didn't kill herself. We need to get out ahead of this because, here we go again.
Well, yeah, I'll come back later.
Say again?
I'll come back later.
Okay, yeah, no, sounds good, Mr. Saxon. Sounds good. Mr. Saxon, everybody, communications director for the Libertarian Party of South Dakota. So, back to our beloved secretary, who, she needs to take a breather. See me tonight in my live stream to discuss things. I'm very much up in my fields and need to settle down. I don't even know what I am anymore when apparently radicals don't all believe in limiting central power and elevating individual choice. I thought that was a no-brainer. Oh well, I don't live to have a label. Whatever we call people that hate central planning, distrust collective power, and honor individual choice, that is what I am. I'm on the LNC to keep it in its lane and will fight anyone who wants to give it power because fill in the blank. That includes because virus. We are looking more and more like status in libertarian clothing every day, and I tell anyone who power grabs to kindly shove that shit right out the door every day if of the week and twice on Sunday. Like I said, she's still running for secretary and she has my vote because this is honesty on a whole different level in live time. If the LNC breaches its duty to the delegates, those out money should send a bill. This is that Billshit I'm talking about. If Rosen, whatever it is, Rosen breaches the contract, the LNC should sue to make those delegates whole if there is any legal theory that could be invoked. I am too out of money for campaign materials. I waited to order until a contract was signed. That's what I'm talking about. Now, if the Rosen breaks it, now this is the problem. Oh, there's some feedback. Uh-oh. If the Rosen breaches contract, they're not. They've given the alternative. It's the LNC that's going to breach its contract, and therefore the LNC is liable. See how this works? You can't just go, it's the hotel, because when you point the finger at the hotel, there's 3 pointed back at you. So, coincidentally. So you go, hey, somebody's to blame here, and it's the LNC. It's not, and I repeat, not the hotel itself. Each time someone advocates violating the will of the delegates, I'm going to introduce them to someone they are advocating to screw financially. Advocate all you want. It isn't virtuous. Woo, buddy. Man. I always feel like I mean, she is, like I said, she is just something else. She is, she's, like I said, the secretary. She's the hero we need. I mean, like literally, the only one that's going to be able to call this out in history. People canceling their hotel rooms and going off site to sock it to the LNC are doing no such thing. All right, so what she's saying here is to me like, hey, you're not going to the public park. Like, get real. All right, so Ms. Harlos, I understand. You are harming the party, ballot access, and everything else we do. You are also giving a middle finger to the COC that has worked way beyond the call of duty. It's not right. ETA, I retract my implied moral judgment. I really just want to know what this accomplishes, but your money, your choice. So, in that aspect, I'm going to say again, there's a lot of corruption going on. And a lot of uncertainty in the LNC because we allowed these corrupt people to continue in their positions. Just so you know, I'm the guy that was like, hey, motion to suspend the rules and censure the chair for what I already know is him planning to violate all the delegates' rights, and I've known this plan since the beginning. And I have been saying it loud and clear from the great state of Meth Dakota for many, many, many moons. Now, they're booking hotels, they're canceling it in a way to sock it to the LNC. In that aspect, you're essentially giving the hotel less revenue. You're saying that you're not going to give your money to a place that can't uphold its end of the contract. You might be misplacing your anger for the hotel in that aspect, and it's going to the LNC. But I would say again, I don't think the hotel has any what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have any liability in this unless they just blatantly say we have nothing for you. Bye. Then and only then are they really to blame. So they've been more than willing to work with people. So with the corrupt LNC that is trying to sabotage and blame it on the hotel itself, which is, I think, the biggest breaking story out of all of this is that there is active LNC members trying to sabotage the contract in a way that puts the hotel at liable risk versus where it actually belongs in the LNC. So, and again, here we go with the next part here. Tonight, I got the opportunity to get to know Evan McMahon. And what a sweetheart. Liberty has some of the best people. Some of you may know that I have tried for 2 years to find someone who wanted to eventually run this position, to be assistant secretary, to train them first. I believe we should always be training our successor. I believe this should be an official position on the LNC, by the way, even if non-voting. And I believe the same for the treasurer, and not the way it's done now. If I am reelected, Evan has graciously agreed to take that role, and he has some great ideas I hope to learn from. I believe we would be a kick-ass team. If he is elected, he promised to continue to advocate for this idea. It eventually needs to be a bylaws change, and I have learned one needs to prove it works before asking for it to be permanent. In any event, I hope to have made a friend. And that is the last we hear from the brain thoughts of our beloved secretary, who, for what it's worth, and she might not care at this point for my endorsement, but I do endorse her for secretary. She's from everything I've seen, she is the definition of hardworking, the definition of transparency, and just an overall incredible person. And how could we not want somebody like that who has earned their stripes in their position of honesty, integrity? I mean, she's the definition of what we need in that position. Why we shouldn't be just throwing out the baby with the bathwater. The bathwater's dirty, but the baby's still good. We keep the baby. She's like the good silver lining in all of this LNC corrupt bullshit, is that she has maintained her principles and her integrity throughout it all, and we should reward her by her having our vote for secretary. So, Miss Harlos, that is my Miss Harlos brain thoughts of the day. She does allude to and I'm gonna see if I can find it here. I really should have had it more prepared, but there's a link that allows you to see the brain thoughts of the LNC, certain individuals, and what they're doing, and through their appropriate channels, or they think they're back channels, but they're really, it's just a treasure trove of finding out who wants to literally fuck over the will of the delegates, and it reads as a who's who of your favorite corrupt LNC members. And I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to who the enemy is, and to which ones of them need to be removed. I go as far as to say that these fuckers need the guillotine, but, you know, people are like, oh, it violates the NAP, and I'm like, no, they've already violated it. They've already violated it. This is what happens when they violate the NAP, the non-aggression principle, by overturning the majority vote the way they're doing. The way that they're doing this is so corrupt that I would say it violates the non-aggression principle. Because you're using your corrupt vote to literally force people to do something. To stop the brakes on all the plans we have, the monies we've spent. You're violating the NAP. You're violating the NAP, CJ. No, you're violating the NAP, Nick. No, you're violating the NAP, CJ. No, you're violating the NAP, Nick. We can go back and forth for days, but we're gonna play this corrupt fucker's video here, and just know that the day he no longer has the gavel in this party is the day I will celebrate, regardless of who wins. I've endorsed Joshua Smith. He is a man that gets out in the streets and does what he puts his word to and his mind to, and that's my endorsement. You can disagree with me all you like. With a secretary like Ms. Harlos and a chair like him, we won't be having yes, Ms. Harlos over and over again. We will run a legitimate, actual, feasible Libertarian Party. So, back to this corrupt fucker and his dumb mouth opening.
Nicholas Sarwark, Chairman
Libertarian National
National Committee.
Yeah. I wish you would speak with authority. And not like just a dick with a mouth open.
Today to talk about the convention. There have been some updates to the Libertarian National Convention that's scheduled to start July 9th in Florida, in Orlando. I wanted to tell you a couple things just so you know my thinking.
It says on my ticker here, you want to join the Libertarian? You want to join this shit show? There's the website.
Ended the first sitting of the National Convention.
Oh, my God.
Weekend. The delegates there decided they wanted to adjourn to a physical convention.
Now,
they wanted to check out all of the delegates in the online convention, and they wanted that convention to be at the Rose and Shingle Creek in Orlando, Florida.
Now, that's what we voted on. And the LNC, to include that guy right there, has no authority. No, they can't vote. They can vote and say, hey, but what they've done, and you're going to see it later in this video, is they found what they believe to be their loophole. And I'm going to tell you the crux of where they're wrong here.
That was the judgment of the largest set of delegates. And as I've said before, and I'll reiterate, I work for the delegates of the Libertarian Party.
Except he's an obstructionist. He's a whiny little bitch. He sat there and intentionally tried to botch the convention. He was obstructing the convention personally. He was not keeping proper order. I mean, it was a shit show that I hope to never have to go through again. Never. We should never have to go through that again as delegates.
I don't work for the Libertarian National Committee. I don't work for the Convention Oversight Committee. I don't work for a caucus. I don't work for a faction.
And just so you know, I'm really hoping he's like, but I do work for the CIA. That would make Sam Tripoli go, I fucking told you. But you are the most powerful man in the LNC. Make no mistake about it. So when we are sitting there as delegates and party body members and just your average everyday libertarian on the street that isn't really giving a shit about the political dynamics of the LNC, you're the one we're looking at going, maybe he is funded by the CIA. Maybe he is getting a benefit. I mean, maybe there is something to what he's saying. I know I made it in less than like 30 seconds of this fucker speaking, but in all honesty, I can't stand his voice. And we're going to go over to our good friend Alphabet again. And we're going to define the word corrupt.
Here's the definition of corrupt: having or showing a willingness to act dishonestly in return for money or personal gain.
Cause to act dishonestly in return for money or personal gain, to change or debase by making errors or in unintentional alterations. Now, where I'm going with this, if you haven't seen, and just for our lovely secretary, who again I can't say enough good things about, dirty is a similar word to corrupt. So when you use the words in your post, the dirty things they're doing, that's synonym for corrupt. It's the same thing. So let's not get it twisted. Every libertarian has the right to say the LNC is corrupt at this point. It's just now we got the knife in our back. This isn't analyzing the knife. This is figuring out what organs they've punctured before we pull this knife out. Because if we just pull the knife out, then we don't know what organs have been hit and cut and what we need to actually worry about. So that's why you leave the knife in your back. And then when you get to the professionals here to dissect it, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to show you what organs the LNC hit by putting the knife in the back of the delegates and how they, what's the word we were looking for again? It was to change or debase by making errors or unintentional alterations, and that's where it goes into the contract. You can hear it clear as day. So back to this guy.
For all of the delegates in the Libertarian Party. And I want you to know that my intent
and just
is
for
to
the
make
record,
sure that
and just for the record, before this guy continues to open his lying suckhole, what blows my mind is that he had the opportunity to join this broadcast, just like everybody else. He rejected my offers not once, not twice, but 3 different times. I can confirm he was aware that I've said, hey, you can get on this broadcast and you can speak for yourself. But instead what he's doing is putting out videos and hiding behind a webcam and then his little Q&A he does.
the will of those delegates is met as...
Hey, Nick, you work for me. Click the fucking link in this description. You just said you work for the delegates. Hi, CJ Abernathy, delegate from South Dakota. Click the link in the description. You work for me. Is it 9 o'clock where you're at? Those are business hours, right? Somebody send this and tag this video with Nicholas Sarwark in it. And say, hey, Nick, your employer, the guy you say you work for, is saying get your ass into his office and explain yourself. But, you know, it'll never happen because he's a coward.
Well as we possibly can. So no matter what happens with a physical or an online convention, I want remote participation for anybody who can't attend. That ensures that everyone can participate and nobody is disadvantaged by the changing health situation, the travel situation, the government situation, their financial situation, or anything else. That is what we owe to each other as delegates.
Now, you fast forward from what I'm being told by party elders that have been around in the age of Nicholas Sarwark, who have followed his every move and everything he has done with as chairman of the Libertarian Party. You can see it clear as day when they tell you, hey, Nick used to be against online voting. Nick used to say, hey, if you're not in this room at this time at this place, your vote doesn't matter. He used to be that guy. Huh. See, when it was advantageous to the two-party system to make it so that people had to travel in order to participate in this third party that is up and coming, the position of the LNC chair was, if you're not here, you're not counted, your vote doesn't matter. Now when it's advantageous to the two-party duopoly, if you don't allow for online participation, you're a garbage person. You're bad. You're bad.
And any person who would go to the live convention and vote against maximum remote participation for every delegate who wants to participate is not a good person.
Coming from a not good person, Nick, I don't give a fuck what you have to say about what I'm saying. You are literally the same guy who would vote against, like Nicholas Sarwark, pre-government propaganda pandemic, would literally disenfranchise your vote when you're begging for an online participation. Now, he's saying that the people going to the in-person are bad people when they were believing what he was saying, why we don't vote online prior to this. Now you're garbage people. You're the deplorables. Congratulations, Nick. We're garbage people. Man, I'm going to come dressed as a fucking garbage man to the convention. And yes, I am voting, as I've already stated, to disenfranchise every online vote and call it null and void, because here's the truth. Most people won't tell you. Most states, and it just we've been getting lucky in some instances that the Republican, and I'm probably just breaking the story too early, just like I broke the Nick is corrupt story and tried to remove him too early. Just like I'm breaking all this shit a little too early. Just not the right time, CJ. Just can't you wait 4 more weeks for the news cycle to catch up? Here's your breaking news story. Joe Jorgensen's going to be such a political threat to Donald Trump and to Joe Biden that they're going to have to look at this convention and call it a botched convention and say, oh, well, your convention was botched. Your online vote doesn't count. And they're going to pull it. You watch, you wait and see. I'm spoiler alert. Just remember that on episode 30, I told you all on the other end of the screen that secretaries of state all across this country are going to challenge whether or not our voting process and nomination process of Dr. Joe Jorgensen was honest, legitimate, and when there's hot Mike saying, guys, we got to rig the vote, when you put 2 and 2 together, you don't think that they're not going to find this shit? You don't think they already... This is why I'm saying, like, you take what Sam Tripoli's saying and you go, the CIA's involved in this, and there's COINTELPRO over here, bro. And you're like, okay, what if you're all right? But what if I'm right too? So, back to this monstrosity, dumb fuck idiot, this Nicholas Sarwark, who again, T-minus less than 1 week until he's no longer chairman of this party.
That's just wrong to do to your fellow delegates. And
yeah, why don't the Nick of a few years ago talk to the Nick of today?
I would expect that if there is any emergency LNC meeting to discuss these things, that the LNC have a vote supporting the full remote participation as recommended by the bylaws committee.
Listen, any vote that Nick calls for right now is dilatory. That's the word he loves to use. Any vote that the LNC tries to call short of a contract signing for the next location the Rosin has offered up is dilatory, is obstructionist, because they're not getting their way, and they know it.
Unanimously, so that there is a vote of the LNC saying it's our intent to have the maximum remote participation for anyone who cannot attend physically in person in Florida. So people don't have to weigh their health or their safety against participating in their political party.
Which again, the Nick of a few years ago versus the Nick of today, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you call a flip-flop.
Anything other than that would be, just it's cruelty to your fellow members. And we need to stop anybody who thinks that's appropriate.
Which was literally him just a few years ago.
There's another issue, and this is a big sort of organizational hygiene issue. We have...
this is the big one right here.
We've whipsawed. The Convention Oversight Committee has whipsawed.
Okay. I like words, Nick. And while you are a giant douchebag dressed as a chairman of a party, I do like words. So we're going to go back to our old friend Alphabet. And we are going to whipsawed.
Here's the definition of whipsaw. Cut with a whipsaw.
Informal, subject to difficult situations or opposing pressures at the same time. Compelled to do something. Interesting choice of words. I'm going to go with the informal first definition. Subject to difficult situations or opposing pressures at the same time. So let's go ahead and go back to him here again.
This thing. They've gone from wanting their meetings to be secret to wanting their meetings to be open. They've gone
from what, Nick?
From one whipsawed. Organizational Oversight Committee has whipped. I
just like that word.
They've gone from wanting their meetings. What do we have? We've whipsawed. The Convention Oversight Committee has whipsawed this thing. They've gone from wanting their meetings to be secret to wanting their meetings to be open. They've gone from wanting me to sign a contract to wanting me to not sign a contract to wanting to not.
I would like this moment in history to be called all the reasons why the LNC is corrupt. Whipsawed.
This thing. They've gone from wanting their meetings to be secret to wanting their meetings to be open. They've gone from wanting me to sign a contract to wanting me to not sign a contract to wanting to not let me be able to cancel a contract to wanting to cancel the contract themselves. That is a bad look. The delegates at convention in the first sitting decided they wanted to adjourn to a physical convention, knowing the first one was canceled for the pandemic, knowing that the situation could change. They made a choice that I don't even agree with.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. So, listen, you can personally disagree with it, but this is where, again, you work for us, Nick. You signed that fucking contract that the Rosin's going to hand you so they avoid liability and damages to all the delegates. You go ahead and you sign that contract for whatever second location it is, because that's your obligation to the delegates. Again, all your votes that you're trying to pull in the back room in your little Google thread are dilatory and an obstructionist at best, and should be a cause for all of you on the LNC to get censured. Censured is a great word. I hope you'll Google that on your next broadcast.
But it's their choice, and we need to respect that choice. I don't think it was in time to cancel a contract at the time we set the convention Memorial Day weekend, let alone now. And that's why I said when I had the contract executed, I don't intend to cancel it, even though there's a conspiracy theory that I did. I intend to go through with it. I told Harris Rosen himself, if you want to do this, we want to do it with you. We want it to be as successful as possible. Because I don't think the delegates made a good, responsible decision. I think they made a somewhat stupid and reckless decision to have another in-person meeting.
All right, CIA.
But we have a right to make stupid and reckless decisions as individuals and as a body. And I believe that my role as chair is to execute the will of those delegates.
Even if it is telling me to drive off a cliff at 100 miles an hour, I'm supposed to get in that car and drive up, saddle that pony, and go. Nick, you are the dumbest man I think I've ever listened to in the history of the male species. Not only do you admit the blatant corruption, but, I mean, it's just, it's so obvious to anybody that watches what is going on, especially for those of us that are new and aren't going to be bullshitted by this old regime.
Even if it's not responsible. I think one of the biggest problems that's infected this debate has been it's not enough for people to say, this isn't a good idea, but we're doing it anyway. They have to try and convince other people that there either is no danger or that the danger is larger than it is. We need to stop trying to change other people's minds and start trying to work together again.
Okay, here's how that happens, Nick. You want to extend the olive branch from the coronaphobic to the ones that are like, fuck you for following government propaganda to ruin our party? Whether that's intentionally or unintentionally, at this point is irrelevant. I would say I would love to know the bank account status of one Nicholas J. Sarwark, but again, you know, maybe he's not getting paid by COINTELPRO, bro. What if he's not? What if he's just a corrupt motherfucker and he's just doing this for free? And the CIA is like, what? Why the fuck would we pay him? He's just naturally this stupid. That's why we gave him this position and propped him up like a monkey and allowed the algorithms at the time to push him to the front. You know what I mean? Like, hello, they know how to control this shit. It's a technocracy, folks. It's not a constitutionally protected republic. It's not even a democracy. It's a technocracy. What are you expecting when this is what they're doing?
This idea the COC has of having remote participation places where people would congregate together in other states at increased cost to the party, adding risk, is fundamentally insane. And the decision they made last night to recommend that after 2 weeks ago making a decision to not recommend it, I don't care what they think right now. They have shown that they lack judgment. They lack any sort of continuity. And frankly,
it lacks any sort of continuity coming from the mouth of Nicholas Sarwark is just a hypocrite statement to begin with. So I take everything this cocksucker says lightly.
I don't trust them. But
I don't trust you.
Because they aren't going to be in charge that much longer.
You are not
They
going to
did
be
do-
in charge that much longer. Thank the Lord. Baby Jesus, flying spaghetti monster, Buddha, Jesus Christ. You know, you insert your deity or lack thereof here. Kindness, courtesy, gratitude of the universe aligning. He is out in less than a week.
Do a bunch of work to make an in-person
Well,
convention
week and
work.
about 10
The
days,
Rosen
right?
Group
10
is
days.
doing a bunch of work to make the in-person convention work. They are finding a substitute location.
Which
They're
they
going to
have.
execute all of the things in their contract to the best of their ability, absent the initial location. So, what I think ought to happen.
Before we get to what this faggot says that, oh, pardon my French, I mean, I use that in a dilatory way, not in an objective way towards LGBTQ plus people. I hope you know that, you guys. I'm referring to more than one. This bundle of sticks here. God, I hate this man more than you can imagine. If they're like, he's my equivalent to Kristi Noem. There's Kristi Noem who runs my state government, and then there's Nicholas Sarwark that runs my party government. Before we worry about what Captain Shithead has to say here, the Rosen has another location that they can use, that we can utilize. What he's doing right now in this whole video is what he's doing right here in this video is giving instructions to the people that voted and are trying to install this technocracy in this party, all the code words and cues for things they're going to have to say to try to get their voted their way. That's what they're doing. That's what he's doing right now.
Happen is we should have an LNC meeting during which we change the location of the convention to be the convention center rather than the Rosen Shingle Creek.
Ta-da!
And
There's a
we
new
should
location.
let the Convention Oversight Committee do what they said they were going to do and work with the Rosen Group to make it happen for all the people that want to do it. The LNC should vote to make sure that anybody that thinks that's dumb or thinks it should be canceled gets to participate remotely so they can express their preferences about LNC members who they think may be making mistakes right now, and that the people who made this whole thing happen, the good, the bad, and the ugly, should be held to account by the delegates because the delegates are in charge of this party.
I'm glad you keep saying that. Hi, CJ Abernathy, delegate from the great state of South Dakota. You know, Meth Dakota. It's the state just south of North Dakota. I don't know if you know your geography or not, but Nick, you work for me. When you say those words and then you go, oh, CJ's an asshole. Well, guess what? You work for an asshole who's not going to let you get away with crooked shit. And so for you to try to throw this back as if it's my fault that I witnessed to your corruption, that I've witnessed to you and your LNC members rigging a presidential election in our party, and that I've witnessed to your corrupt push for a technocracy. How does that make me the garbage person? I really want to know. I mean, I'm going to get a shirt that says Garbage Man right here just for you, Nick. And then I'm going to have a guy in the back dumping out the trash, and it's your body with your head sticking out of the back end of the trash heap. And then somebody ready to pull that lever like Master Splinter and get rid of this fucking corrupt, crooked shit.
With that, I will take any question you guys want, so I'm going to start going through them.
Oh, God, I hate Nick Q&As. They're so stupid. All right, well, I've got about 15 minutes. And I'm not going to listen to corrupt Nicholas Sarwark anymore. If you want to find this video and listen to him and further get more corrupt things out of it, I watched the whole thing. This dude is crooked as a $3 bill. Again, I hope he shows up in Orlando. I can't wait to be front row at this shit show. But hey, Nick, do I send you the bill if you and the LNC corruptly cancel this thing? Because that's exactly where it's going to go. So if you want to join this broadcast, I'm supposed to open up the Garden of Freedom here. Studio for Adam versus the Man. But I knew this one was going to run a little long today. So I'm going to give it, like I said, about another minute or two here if anybody wants to join. throw in their thoughts for the day. I know Mr. Saxon was watching, and he came on and tried to do the breaking news. That's why you got to tune in and push that notification button. So, but that's the only news story I was going to cover for today. I needed a break from there's the dumb headlines, but that albeit short of the Maxwell didn't kill herself headline. What's up, Daisy? So, seeing nobody wanting to join this morning's lovely coffee and a conversation, I guess I could go to some of the comments real quick. Mercedes is the only one blowing up the comment threads here. That convention was a shit show. Looks like she too witnessed to the hot mic incident. CJ, run for prez. No, thank you. I have no interest in seeking president of the United States. Man, we have more in common than you think, even if you are a grammar Nazi. Awesome. Good morning there, Mr. Warren. I see you there, Devil Dog. Yeah. Good morning, Devil Dog. Yeah. Good morning, Hua. Hua. I know there's some Marines out there going, did he just say Hua? Yeah, I did. Hoorah. Yet. Get some. Kill them all. I'm sure that won't be taken out of context. What makes the grass grow? Good save, CJ. I use that a lot. Listen, to the word police out there that are going to get upset with my my vernacular. Sorry about that. Again, I'll get better. I'll come on next show. Woke up late. Cool. Well, maybe we'll have another update then, Mr. Saxon, and we can let it go. I think this is just a good way to round off the corrupt bullshit up to this point between the secretary exposing it and the chairman acknowledging it. Really, that's what it comes down to. I would headline this: incompetent chairman divulges corruption of the LNC inadvertently. That's what I would headline this. So, Mercedes loves Marines. Well, I once a Marine, always a Marine. Hoorah. Cool story, bro. Oh. Yeah. Hey, real quick to round off this story. I got this in the mail, and it's one tough mother, Valerie, for at large, reliable, responsible, respectable. Hello, fellow delegate. My name is Valerie Sarwark, and I want to be one of your LNC at-large representatives. I've been a registered Libertarian and party member for nearly 10 years. I recently celebrated 11 years of marriage and have 4 glorious children under the age of 10. Since joining the Libertarian Party, I've served on planning and membership committees, spoken on women's panels, parenting panels, and education panels, helped with campaigns, phone banked, and worked with everyone I could to help spread the message of liberty. It's time for me to do more. I no longer want to be the whisper of the underrepresented members of the party. I want to be the voice that speaks for the women, mothers, and parents who want to vocalize their concerns and make the party a welcoming home for all people. I humbly ask for your vote, and together we can do great things. In liberty, Valerie Sarwark. Where's the picture of your husband? I'm just kind of curious. Like, that's just my only question that comes to that, Again, beautiful family, though. Just a douchebag husband as a chair. Like, he might be a good father. I'm not here to judge whether or not what kind of father he is. That, make no mistake about it. He's a corrupt chairman. He could be the greatest dad on the planet. I'm not judging his parenting. So do not think that is what this is at all. So, anyways, seeing nobody else having anything, Adam versus the Man, I'll be airing it here on my channel. So if you guys like to tune in and you guys want to comment and get on the show today, you're more than welcome to. I believe we're going to have Walter He's Walter Block, Libertarian. He's going to be on the show today, from what I remember. And it should be a good show. But if you're an LNC member, I'd be very worried. I would be very worried because those of us that voted for this convention, we knew what was going on. Your polls are dilatory. You know, otherwise you're, you know, again, it's just corrupt. You're trying to shift the blame to the rosin to avoid liability. They're not going to let you get away with that. If somebody that you call stupid like me to make yourself feel better can figure that out, you don't think lawyers for a hotel chain aren't going to be able to figure it out themselves too? This is why some of you are just fucking stupid. And personally, you should be identified by your other party members and outed at the first convenience to the party, the very next time that the minutes are on the record. Because if there's one thing I've learned, good, bad, or indifferent, when that gavel comes down and we're on the record, all them corrupt motherfuckers, they got to put their heads down and hope they don't get the chopping block. But this time, my friends, we're bringing the guillotine to Florida. Whether you're an alligator or you're a corrupt motherfucker, everybody's head can get chopped off. Have a good day or don't. The choice is always yours. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to Coffee and a Conversation hosted by CJ Abernathy for South Dakota District 23 Senate 2020. A father, an activist, a Marine Corps combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, Purple Heart recipient with a bachelor's degree in information technology software engineering. DJ is the executive producer of the Average First Man podcast with Adam Kotesh and the CEO of Internet Warlord, the war for the internet, as well